Ben and I were just talking about the transition from, beginner property strategies that don't require a lot of capital to buying, a big property like this. And it is something that I like to talk about because I think before I got into property a few years ago, I thought that property and business and owning buildings like this and owning shops was not for people like me, and that it wasn't really open to me. And so when I started doing rent to rent, which is a strategy where you don't need a lot of money to start and you can generate a lot of property cash flow, and that's a strategy I'm very passionate about. I started with my sister running HMO Heaven, which does that strategy. Basically, we look after HMOs, house share properties for landlords, and we offer them guaranteed rent. So it was a big shift going from that strategy and being good at that to going into buying properties. And so this one is much, much bigger as well than the other properties that we've bought. And because it also has a shop as part of it, it meant that we had to get commercial lending. And that was interesting. You probably, if you've been anywhere around the property world, you've probably heard that it's tougher getting lending now. Ever since 2008 crash, we're now 2019, but it's the rigor that lenders put around lending is massively upped, and the changes that the government introduced also have caused them to be a lot more cautious. So, and for newer investors like us, it can be tougher to get commercial commercial lending from traditional banks. But we succeeded in that. We have an amazing broker, and he helped to present our story. So actually, the rent to rent really helped us. What they say is that when you go for lending, mortgage lending, especially commercial lending, that the fact that you have managed other people's property won't help you. But because they look at the whole picture, they actually saw that we had some very similar kind of properties that we're managing on behalf of other people, and the way that we have our business set up and our branding and our accounts that they looked at added it made them think that we were worth a chance, and that we were worth lending to, that we were a good bet, and that was a great feeling as well. So I just encourage you, if you're a beginner and you're just starting out and you're getting into maybe rent to rent or sourcing or another sort of strategy where you don't need a lot of capital to start, to keep your mind focused on how can I eventually become to attract the resources that I need to be able to invest and buy my own properties, because that's where you get the chance to really push forward into true wealth creation and long-term wealth building. And that's something I like to talk about as well, because I think it's important to talk about being a wealth creator rather than a consumer. I used to very much think of myself as my income is my salary, and the cap on my salary means I can't earn more than a certain amount. And now, having flipped the switch to think of myself as a wealth creator, there's no limits. It's up to me how resourceful can I be, how much value can I deliver. That's the only thing that puts a ceiling on what the wealth I can create. And the exciting thing about being a wealth creator is that you get to be what I call a game changer. You get to change the game. So you get to change the game in your life, for your family, the way you look at yourself, and you then get to change the game in your community, and you get to change the game in the world. And I've just started building all the foundations of all these ideas and the way that we want our business to be a game-changing business and really to have impact. And we're just in the talking to a local charity, Amazing Grace Spaces, to partner with them. They're a charity that's providing homes for the homeless pods. It's really, really innovative. In shipped containers, but they're also doing a house for women who've had to leave not necessarily domestic violence, but are in a vulnerable position and are moving on from there in a safe house, and so they have a project there. So we're excited to be working with them. And on the other side of our business, which is the training side, which is the rent-to-rent Kickstarter side, we're just about to set it up, and it will be all ready by the new year, so that every time somebody buys one of our property coaching courses, that someone in Africa also gets business training, and that just makes me feel amazing. And I know that all of our Kickstarters who come into the program and get their own successful property businesses, we're encouraging them as well to get on the program with this and also be giving within their business, because it's so true that givers get, and one of the most satisfying things about being more successful financially is the ability to be able to help other people.